261, like we have all been informed. This was 261, like we have all been informed. And this afternoon, I will be taking some aspect of the course content. And the first aspect I'm going to handle this afternoon is the concept of international trade. And I believe that we are all familiar with this. I believe we are all familiar with it. And that's why I'm not going to take much of our time on it. But the first thing I would just want to handle is what exactly is international trade? International trade, what international trade? Or sometimes the one referred to as foreign trade. That is the trade between nations of the world. Two or more nations of the world. Two or more nations of the world. International trade is a trade between individual firms and government of the countries involved. If the trade is between two countries, is simply referred to as bilateral trade. That's the trade between two countries. There are reasons for international trade. Like we know, there is no nation that can stand alone. There's no nation that can, produce everything that, that it needs. And that's why it becomes very, very important for nations to interact, to trade with one another. And the first reasons for international trade. Okay, I should slow down. The first reason for international trade okay. I think the first reason is to enjoy comparative advantage. Like we all know, the law of comparative advantage is when country specializes in the production of goods, services, where they are better off compared to other countries, instead of stretching their resources in such a way that they will not be better. So if you concentrate in the production of those goods, those commodities, and then be able to get these other ones, then we talked about the law of comparison. So it is to enjoy comparative advantage. One other reason for international trade is that some countries can produce certain commodities at cheaper rate than others. They can produce something at cheaper rate than others. One other reason for international trade is because natural resources are not equitably distributed. Our climates are not the same thing. Therefore, it cannot support the production of all commodities. And because of that, we need to trade with one another. We have different technology. We have, different mineral resources. And as such, we need to trade with one another so that some of these resources that a particular country does not have, it can as well enjoy it. One other reason for international trade is because of differences in our productive capacity. Differences in the human skill, the people skill. That's why I'm sure you can see here in Nigeria, the rail construction that is going on. They are being handled by the Chinese because of the skill that they have acquired, which we don't really. Let me also quickly look at the advantages of international trade. The first one is that it leads to specialization and increase in standard of living. Specialization. That's what happens when, when the country, specializes in the production of those goods, those commodities with the, that are, that are, where they are better positioned to do. So it leads to specialization and increase in standard of living. Apart from that, it also brings about world peace, world unity. It brings about. It also ensures that there is equitable distribution of natural resources that are not available in a particular country. Other countries also, they can as well have access to it. When there is a trade relationship going on between them. It also encourages economic development of nations. Economic development of nations as well. And another one is that there is interdependence among nations. Like I've said before, there is no nation that is an island. Let me quickly also look at the disadvantages. The first and the major disadvantages is the fact that there is importation of harmful goods. In the process of bringing in some of these imported goods, also we also discovered we also have harmful goods like arms, ammunition, and the rest of them. They are also brought into the country. It could result into unemployment because our local industries are not well, because we now depend on imported goods. It ends up discouraging self-reliance. There'll be no self-reliant. Countries will not be self-reliant in the process, and that will affect our local industry. It could also be injurious to a country culture. Today, most of our cultures have been, have been affected by foreign culture. So it can be very injurious. And like I said, it could also affect our infant industry adversely, because as long as we keep bringing all these goods into the country, our own infant industry, our own local industry will not be developed in the process. Let me quickly look at some documents that are used in international trade. The first one is what is called consular invoice. The consular invoice. Just like the invoice that we are familiar with, where the invoice where it will state the various items that have been purchased. In the same way also, the consular invoice is a document that specifies the content and the details of the shipment, certified by the consul of the country. And the custom official also use the invoice to confirm what is in the shipment, the number of goods, and the cost to determine, the import duties. Once they know the items that have been shipped, then it also assists the custom officials to be able to know the cost and then what they are also going to pay as import duty. The second one is an indent. It's another document. This is the document that gives details about the types and quality of goods required by the buyer. This document gives details about the types and then the quality. When with the buyer actually requested, which is that he wants to buy, the indent will contain it, details about the types and the quality of the goods. The third one is bill of lading. The bill of lading specifies the types, the quantity of goods, the port of loading, and then the port of discharge. That's what the bill of lading. That's what that documents. The document is issued by a carrier. It is issued by a carrier to acknowledge receipt of cargo for shipment. it is issued by the carrier, the person that is going to carry, to acknowledge the receipt of the cargo for shipment. That is what are going to ship out of the country. That's why I said it shows the types, the quantity of the goods, the port of loading where it is being loaded, and then where it is being taken, the port where it will be discharged. That's what the bill of lading specifies. The fourth one is the freight note, the freight, F-R-E-I-G-H. If you have the module for 221, you can also find it, you'll find it in the module as well. You can find some of these things in the module. The freight note. The freight note is a document that states the charges for carrying the goods. That is the document that states the charges for carrying the goods. The charges for carrying the goods. That's the freight note. The fifth one is the sanitary health certificate. Sanitary health certificate. The sanitary health certificate is issued to certify that the commodity is fit for human consumption. The sanitary health certificate is issued to certify that the commodity is fit for human consumption. The number 6 is certificate of inspection. Certificate of inspection. Certificate of inspection. Certificate of inspection is issued by suppliers. This certificate is issued by suppliers to show that they have inspected the goods shipped and they are in conformity with buyer's purchase order. The certificate is issued by the supplier, the person supplying the goods, and it is to show that the goods that are being shipped, they are in conformity with what the buyer requested, with what the buyer with what is in the order of the buyer, the purchase order of the buyer. That's certificate of inspection. The number 7 is pro forma invoice. The pro forma, P-R-O-F-O-R-M-A, the pro forma invoice. The pro forma invoice is a bill of sale sent to the customers before the goods or services, before they are delivered. It's a bill of sales. That bill will show the sale. That is, those goods and services that they are selling is the one that are going to send to the customer, to the person that is making the request. They will send to show to them before the goods or service, before they are delivered. And usually it contains date of issue, description of what is being sold, the date of issue, description of what is being sold, total amount payable, as well as any taxes or fee that is incurred. It contains date of issue, description of what is being sold, and total amount payable, as well as any taxes or fee being incurred. The last one I'm going to talk about is the Form M, the Form M. Form M. Form M is one of the important documents that is required. It's one of the very, very important documents that is required for importation into Nigeria. It's very, very important. And this is actually, this is obtained through the authorized dealer bank. It is the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Finance and CBN, that the one that put it in place. That the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Nigeria, and they use it to monitor goods imported into Nigeria. They use it to monitor goods imported into Nigeria. And this also enables the collection of import duties. Because once they know whatever is coming in and whatever is coming, like whatever is going out, it will also assist, in the collection of import duties. Those are the 7 basic documents that I used. The last thing I'm going to talk about here is the means of payment in foreign trade, the means of payment. One of the things they use in the payment is bank draft, which I believe we are all familiar with. There is also the travel check. There is the mail transfer, mail, M-A-I-L. That is also very mail transfer. These are some, and then documentary credit also. These are some of the means or some of the ways by which payment is made in foreign trade. So having that, we conclude the aspect of international trade. That will conclude that. I want to talk now on globalization. Globalization, I believe that we are familiar with that. And globalization is a process that is driven by international trade. It is because there is a trade going on between nations of the world. That was what brought about globalization. And because of information technology, there cannot be globalization without an advancement in information technologies. Because of information technology, because, just like we have all had, the world has become a global village. Relating with anybody in any part of the world has become so simple that you can be where you are now and you can have any business deal with anybody in any part of the world. Globalization. It is a process of interaction, a process of integration amongst the people, amongst companies, organizations, and governments of different nations. Is a process of interaction and integration amongst the people. It's not just about government alone. It's not but even people, companies, organizations. Like I said, it is aided by information technology. I'm sure we are aware recently about the African continent free trade agreement. That's a regional thing that is creating. Is an agreement entered into by nations in Africa to open up their economy to one another. It enables free flow of goods and services. It makes possible free flow of people from one country to another. This is made possible through globalization. There are 3 major areas of globalization. There could be economic globalization, it could be cultural exchange, it could be political globalization. Today, nations of the world, politically are connected. The political system being operated in different parts of the world are very, very, like most nations of the world that are, now democratically elected, people that is running the government. That's because of the political globalization that is in place. That relationship is there. That interaction is there. Let me also say that globalization opens international borders. It opens international borders to increase flows of goods, services, increase flow of finance, people, and ideas. It opens international borders to increase flows of goods, services, finance, people, and ideas. It promotes and increases interactions between different regions and the people around the globe. That's why it is referred to as globalization. It has to do with nations of the world, allowing free flow of people, free flow of goods, finance, ideas here and there. It has its own advantages and it has its own, disadvantages. It has its own disadvantages, just like international trade. Let me just quickly run down the advantages and the disadvantages. Advantages, the number one is that it ensures increase in the output of a country. Increase in output of a country. And that's as a result of removal of trade restrictions. Since there is no trade restriction, people can bring in anything into the country. People can take their product to another country. So some of the things that are not available, in a particular country, they can have access to it. So increase the output of a country. Not only that, it also makes possible the accessibility of countries to financial assistance. Accessibility of countries to financial assistance because of the relationship going on, because of the interaction. That's why we have some international bodies already set up to give financial assistance. International bodies like World Bank, IMF, EU, European Union, and the rest of them. They are set up to give financial assistance to members' countries. Another advantage is that it permits countries to concentrate on the production of goods and services in which they have comparative advantage. Just like I've said before, it makes that country to specialize in the production of those goods and services where they have, advantage over other countries. It also raises productivity and improves standard of living of the people. And that's because of efficient allocation of resources. Resources are now efficiently allocated because you are no more stretching your resources on all products, but you are now stretching it on those goods where you have an advantage over others. So that improves the standard of living of the. And then finally, the less developed countries, they are also open up to investors because of interaction, and that's why you see many people coming to Nigeria to come and invest because of opportunities that are available for them. Opportunities. Some of the advantages of globalization is that it can lead to dumping. Dumping anything. That's why some years back, some people went to the extent of even dumping, waste products, especially when our port is not well monitored, not well taken care. So it can lead to dumping of goods here and there. You can imagine very old, rickety vehicles, brought them to Nigeria, just come and dump it. A lot of second-hand materials brought into the country, leads to dumping, and it may result to unemployment due to capital flight. I think I've talked about that. Also reduces demand for the product of infant industry, our local industry, our industries that are not well developed. It will also affect them, the demand, because most times people believe that imported products, they are better than the locally produced products. And that is not always the case most of the time. so it can reduce the demand for them. Let me just look at some of the features that aid globalization. I've actually mentioned some of them. I actually talked about the IT, information technology is one of the things that actually aiding globalization, telecommunication development. Also have technology, like what we are using presently, COVID-19 is one of the things that has brought some of these things to the fore. And that's why we can use all this technology that is made available for us. Not only that, the fact that there is no restriction. It is not a borderless world. People, except for some countries present because of the problem of COVID-19, where we are having the third wave in some countries, you still find that you can, once you have all the requisite things, all the things that are required, you can move from one country to another. So it's now a borderless world. Transportation is also another thing also that has aided globalization, especially air transport. There is free trade. There is free information for growth and human welfare. All of these things have aided globalization. Let me, to conclude that first aspect of the course content is also what is called online business. Online business. That is what I'm going to also look at now. Online business. Online business. Yeah, I'm sure it's not something that we are not familiar with. We are all familiar with online business. Sometimes they call it e-business. Online business is any kind of business or commercial transaction that includes sharing of information across the internet. Any forms of business that is carried out across the internet is what is called online business or e-business. Is any kind of business or commercial transactions that includes sharing information across the internet is referred to as online business or e-business. It also refers to the buying and selling of goods or services. It refers to the buying and selling of goods or services using the internet. Buying and selling of goods or services using the internet, and the transfer of money and data to execute this transaction. Buying and selling of goods or services using the internet and the transfer of money and data to execute this transaction. Online is a channel. Is a channel. It's not really the business, but it's a channel that connects businesses to people. It's a channel that connects businesses to people. And it is a tool that helps you to reach anyone from anywhere in the world. It's a tool that enables you to reach anyone from anywhere in the world. Let me also add this, that online channels, the online channels that are available, sure we also know them. Email is a channel, website is a channel, WhatsApp today, people use it for business, for any, Instagram, ditto for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of them, so many of them. These are channels available today that people are using to transact business, to share information today. Let me look at some of the benefits of online business, benefits. Number one is that there is global access. There is, as far as the online business, there is no closing time. It is 24/7. And it goes beyond just your area. It is global. Anywhere, anyone in any part of the world can have access to what you are selling. Not only that, delivery of product is faster. It's faster delivery of products. Number three is that it saves a lot of cost. Saves a lot of cost of transportation, moving from one part or the other, saves all of those things. Buying is also very convenient to buy. Very, very convenience of buying. It's also there. There is also less paper waste. It does not require the use of any, waste of papers. They're very, very less paper waste. It also saves time. Time saves a lot of time. It's not something that you keep. Once it's there on the platform, all that you need to do is just maybe update it. Maybe there's a new product, or just updating. It's not something that you have to keep rearranging and whatever. A lot of time is saved. Another benefit is the fact that there is opportunity to manage your business from anywhere in the world. You can be anywhere in the world and you can still manage your business anywhere in the world. These are benefits of online business. These are benefits of online business. Let me also talk about online business opportunities. Online business opportunities. You can use the internet to run an online shop. You can use it to run it. Today, Amazon is the richest man in the world. And all that is doing is an online business where it creates a platform that people can bring their products and they can sell. Jumia, also in Nigeria. You can also use the internet to manage your supplies. Your supplies to your customers, you can use it. You can use the internet to communicate with your customers. You can use it to connect with them, pass across information, and even get feedback on your business. That's why today we have online survey. They just quickly ask you, just in 1 minute, can you tell us, are you enjoying our service? Which area of our work do you want us to improve, and what have you? So you can get feedback from your customers. The internet also offers services online, which I also have said that. It also allow customers to make reservation or appointment. Today, you can make reservation and your hotel reservation prior to the time that you arrive where you are going. So that you just go there and then you can just check in. You can make a reservation even online. Today, people make reservation, even if you are traveling out also, you can buy your ticket online today. You don't have to get to the airport to buy your tickets. You can buy it online and then you just get to, to the airline, and then you can just do all the other things, show the various receipt, and you are good to go. And then finally, another opportunity is that you can manage your finances, such as online banking. Today, you don't need to go to the bank and go and waste, so much time. You don't need to. Most of the banks today have, they have application with which you can transfer money without even going to the bank. You can transfer money, you can get money to anyone without even going to the bank. So these are opportunities available online through the use of internet. These are various opportunities that are available. Let me also quickly look at some disadvantages, because there is nothing that has an advantage that does not have its own disadvantages. So you know that the internet is not safe. It's not a safe place for children. A lot of bullying, is happening. There could also be the possibility of identity theft if you are not smart. We have a lot of hackers now looking for people that they want to do, all the Yahoo boys here and there. There are viruses that they're now placing on the internet that can create a lot of problems. And if you also don't have computer, if you are not good in the use of computer, it's also going to be very, very difficult for you to enjoy it. Once you lack computer, once you lack, the use of computer, it will be very, very difficult. Also, you also know that there's also difficulty in developing relationship. You relate with people you don't even know. You know nothing about them, and that may be all. You have not even seen one another before. You have not even have anything in common. So there's difficulty, and sometimes people, maybe because of the ease of buying, they buy things they don't even need. Most times, they don't even buy it at all. So that is about the online business. So that's about online business. I think I can still look at before we round up. I think we can still look at the other aspect of the course content is want to look at some of the regional economic integration. If I can just quickly run through that, the regional economic integration, various regional economic integration. Want to also look at that, just like I was talking the other time when I was talking about FTA, the African Continent Free Trade Agreement. Regional economic integration is an agreement between nations, contiguous nations that are very close to one another, and is to allow for the free flow of ideas, free flow of investment funds, free flow of technology, goods and services, and free movement of persons within the region in which that large market subsists, with the benefit of comparative advantage and economies of scale. That's simply what regional economic integration. Is talking about, I'm sure we know some of them. The common examples are the ECOWAS. ECOWAS has to do with the West African states. These are countries that are very close to one another. West African states. And that's why there's an agreement between them. And the agreement has to do with, allowing, citizens of these countries, allowing them free movement, allowing free flow of goods and services that are produced in this, in these countries amongst themselves, allow, free flow of investment funds. That's why Dangote today can go to other African countries and then go there, go and invest. It's because of the regional integration, the relationship, the agreement between these countries, ideas, people, and it is to enjoy the benefits of comparative advantage and economies of scale. Some of the advantages of regional economic integration, like I've said, is the removal of all impediments, restrictions to free trade and investment. That's one of the things that you find there. There is removal of any forms of restriction to free trade. Not only that, is efficient resource allocation. Efficient resources, these resources are, there is no country that has all the resources, no country. But when there is an interaction going on, the resources can now be allocated. There are countries within the West Africa that don't have oil, but for the fact that they can also have assets. They can also enjoy it. They don't have it, but we have it. We can also export this oil to them. They can enjoy it. Little for other countries outside Africa or outside West Africa. There is also the attachment of economic growth and economic development. These are advantages of economic integration. You can find it also in the module as well. There are also obvious disadvantages, like I've mentioned before. There is there's loss of some measures of economic and political independence by members. Political independence, loss of measures of economic and political independence by member states. And there is also the inability to fix tariffs and impose restrictions, not in line with the framework of integration agreement. These are some of the disadvantages of the regional economic integration. Let me just quickly look at some of them, and then we will round up. The first one I want to quickly look at, so the types of the economy, the first one I want to quickly look at is the ECOWAS. ECOWAS is the Economic Community of West African States. The ECOWAS was set up for the economic integration of West African countries. That's I've mentioned, and the purpose is to promote rapid economic development of West African people. That is the purpose of setting up, to promote rapid economic development. ECOWAS was founded on May 28, 1975. May 28, 1975, and is made up of 16 member nations. The treaty was signed in Lagos. It was also set up to address issues such as low-level technology, low savings, low investment, low per capital income, low or poor infrastructural facilities. These are reasons why it was set up. The second one I want to also look at is WTO, World Trade Organization. The World Trade Organization was established on 1st January. It was established 1st January 1995. I'm sure we all know today who the administrative head of WTO is. That is the Director General. That's Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. The WTO is located, the headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. And there are 159 countries who are members, 159 member states at WTO. And the objectives of WTO, World Trade Organization, is to ensure full employment, raise the standard of living of the people, enhance international relations, especially in the area of trade, and also to boost global output. These are objectives. These are things that WTO is set out to achieve. What are the functions? The functions, they are to administer trade policy, renew mechanism whenever it is necessary. They are also to cooperate with IMF and World Bank, especially when it comes to global economic policy. They are to work along with IMF and World Bank in the area of global economic policy, and to also provide the framework for implementation and administration of trade agreements between countries. Provide the framework for implementation and administration of trade agreements. The third one I will quickly look at is the IMF, International Monetary Fund. International Monetary Fund. IMF was founded at Bretton Woods Conference in July 1944. It was in July. That was when it was founded, in July 1944. And it was to secure international monetary cooperation, stabilize currency exchange rates, and expand access to hard currency. Secure international monetary cooperation, stabilize currency exchange rates, and expand access to foreign currency.